The fire burning red and a Georgia representing if it comes hard here. You know. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you going like you like come son. Red. Comes hard your son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes I say them heart no kind. Buxton massive. Kidaki. Red that.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in the Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people it getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, with Jah as ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. People calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, Poor People Governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now know what you can have in money. Money, never money, money, money. You can keep, you can have in money. When you've been knocked for a bum, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, in a bill tell me money. Now because your money done, you hustle to tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. Neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, never money. Money, never money. Money, I know what you can have in money. Oh, Joseph.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
People's National Congress Reform invite you to its annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fun day at Congress Place, Sophia. Bring out the entire family. There will be Easter egg hunt, kite flying competition, and other attractions. Music by One Voice Sound. Remember, this Easter Monday, Congress Place, Sophia is the place to be for the PNCR's annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fun day. Admission is absolutely free with free parking in the compound. See you there.
Get ready for the greatest party experience. The People's National Congress Reform presents the Oldies Dance Party on Saturday, March 30th at Congress Place, Sophia. Enjoy live entertainment from Genesis One Man Band and Blue Ribbon the Boss. Admission $1,000. Doors open at 8 p.m. with free parking. It's the BNCR's Oldies Dance Party. Let the memories take over.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Ramveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop, for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. Amsterdam. How are you? Morning, neighbor, morning. Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 33 on the 26th day of March in the year 2024. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. How are you? Fidel Albert, I see you've done your homework. Fidel says that in the budget, there's $60 million put towards rent, salaries, and other allowances for the nationals they are importing to work in Ghana. I can't confirm or reject that figure, but I can trust Fidel has the right number. Good. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to the program. It's the morning after Pagua. How are you been? How are you spend? Are you Pagua? Are you spend? Are you Pagua wet or broke? Well, I don't know. How was your last night? Did you rest well? Did you use the holiday to rest and recuperate? Or did you use the holiday to make some money? Somebody calling me. I would want to know why. So I'm going to answer. Caller, good morning.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Why are you calling me, sir?
My contribution this morning to your program is because I look at this shutting down of the nursing school in Linden and bringing in Indian people to the country. I call it as it is another racist move by the PPP. I don't know how the blacks in the PPP doesn't see this as a racist move. Look at Haiti at the moment. Haiti is going through a turmoil in that country. And I would assume if CARICOM has the chairman coming out of Guyana, they should have been giving the Haitian the first choice to come to Guyana as nurses and teachers if they're so interested in bringing people to fulfill the gap that they created. But then look at what they did. They're trying to bring people to pad the list, people who look like them. And it's clear it can come to a point where black folks will no longer get jobs in the country because they're going to make sure that they put a bunch of Indian people in there and get rid of all of them. So all them you see who jumping up now and cannot come out and represent themselves, if Robin Norton or the AFC and the PNC don't get back into power, they are going to be on the sidelines looking in. Like what Maya Motley said, they're going to be tenants of the whole land. Right? All them hotels with $1 billion, that's the job that they're going to create for these black folks if they don't come out and stand up for what is theirs right now. You know, that's my contribution, sir. Hello?
I'll give you a contribution. So I have to get back to where I was. I wonder what I was talking about. I can't remember, you know. 50 hasn't done me well at all. Yeah. So I was asking, I think, did you rest and recuperate? Did you use the opportunity to make some money, or did you just lazy around, or you went and do another man's bidding? You know? Did you? What did you do with your yesterday? I know I looked around, all around, quite frankly, all around. And I saw Pagua. Right? I saw Pagua celebration all around. Left, right, and center. And you know who dominated the Pagua celebrations? Oh, yeah, yeah. Right? You know who dominated the Pago celebrations? I happen to have seen, I think, a photograph on tourism page. I think it's tourism's page. And the photo, I think, depicted Pago in Arbeiston, Alexander Village. We usually say Arbeiston, right? And bro, if you didn't know Guyana's cultural makeup, you would think that Pago is a black people thing. That is what you would think if you see black man. Y'all know me. I ensure I study them photographs to see if I see any Indo-Guyanese inside. Yaga. Y'all might be surprised. Y'all might be very, very surprised. Right? And this is no fun. Right? I'm making fun of nobody. I don't think I could have found any photograph from that crowd there showing me or depicting in a real way, right? Depicting in a real way who are the people who really and truly celebrate Pago or should be celebrating Pago in this country. Was it by design? Is it by design that the ministry is or the photographers posted those photos? Was it an act of deceit? I wonder. God, I really wonder. But it is clear that Guyana has always been a religious, tolerant country as far as I'm concerned. If that's the correct terminology. We don't get religious hatred and so on and so forth. Right? We don't get religious hatred and so on and so forth. People are accommodating. But it is certainly clear to me that maybe African cultural practices have changed or are definitely changing. There's something that you call acculturation, right? Acculturation. And those who are into sociology and social studies and so on would understand clearly what acculturation is. But acculturation, as I remember it, is the adaptation of another person's culture, I would say, to fit into their society. So when you see Guyanese leave here and we say they turn overnight Yankee, right? As soon as they leave these shores and they call you a week after and all you're in is twang, they being a culture. When you see them and they got turtleneck jerseys still to the throat, and they will tell you about what's the meal you recommended for me? Flash, grits and eggs and bacon and whatever else. When they tell you that that is their favorite, it's acculturation. They're adapting into that culture which they have now transferred to. It's not that they're unpatriotic, you know. If you're gonna fit in, then you gotta somewhat look like the people. And I want to say, I want to believe that that is taking place in this country, despite the fact that the people are caught up in it. have not left these shores. Right? They have not left these shores. They have not left their communities. But what they look around and see, and this is me, it's my opinion and I'm entitled to it. They look around and they see what I may call a more dominant culture. And they feel it's good that they must want to fit into that culture. And so when you look at Sita's bar, wow, set of black people celebrating Pagwa. The thing I looked at there and I said, what wait? Pagwa is a religious Hindu holiday. And alcohol and so on should not be imbibed and served during the celebrations and so on. And it's also Ramadan, right? Good. I mean, Muslims don't partake, or ordinarily, let me say ordinarily, because I'm saying again, Guyana is a religiously tolerant country. Ordinarily, you won't find Muslims partaking in Pagwa. Good. But when you look at Sita's bar, Pagwa is celebrating at a bar or in the vicinity of a bar. The religiosity of that whole celebration observation going through the window, because everybody with a Banks beer, everybody with a Guinness, anybody with a Heineken, it's swag. Go to Alexander Village. Alexander, I think what they got a masjid or something. Is it no a temple? No, the Alexander Village Temple or whatever they used, whatever its name, used to host one of the biggest Pagwa celebrations. And so Alexander Village has become known for attracting that particular crowd. And so again, all them black people in Albaiston and Charleston and all that stuff suddenly become Hindus. No, Hindu is not a faith you could baptize into, you be born into it. Right, but here we are, all these black people celebrating Pagwa. And guess what? Liberated territory, or what we usually say is liberated territory, was left out of it, you know. Buxton. For just another consecutive year, you may say, because so for quite a number of years, Buxton has been doing that. The youngsters in Buxton have been partaking in Pagwa. And so Buxton had a massive celebration. Money make, I glad. Buxton people make money, I glad. Excuse me. But one of the things, y'all know me, I always got a critical eye. I don't know why I'm like that. I was built for this. Enough money making Buxton. But I'm willing to bet this morning half of it did not stay in Buxton. Right? Because when you look at the majority of people supporting certain things, you know that the money going out the village. The money going out the village. Right? I will always examine these things and share my thoughts. I don't care who believe I'm a racist or I am intolerant. I'm an educator. And I like to share, I like to teach so that people get an idea, at least the next time, what are some of the things they could do to keep some of the money in the village. Every time Buxton has quote unquote a big thing. They had Juve the other day. They had Pagwa last night. The sound systems come from out of Buxton. And they charge hundreds of thousands of dollars as far as I have understood. You mean to tell me all them bandwagon set in Buxton can come together and say, on these days, we will pool our resources together to come up with sound systems as large as the ones that these promoters as well bring to Buxton, and charge for starters a fraction of the cost so that we could get a bite in this money. Huh? Can't we do that? But like, nobody shares any ideas with these young people, or they head so rock hard that they ain't learning that. Or the promoters themselves are not patriotic enough to their communities to say, hey, this is an opportunity to promote what we have. And so let me try and bring these set men together and work with them. And let me see if we could create something in this village. By the time you finish a fete, hundreds of thousands of dollars gone to Bobby's bushlat or somewhere. Is that Kong vibes come from? Bobby's get more money. Gold get your money. Slingers get your money. But and your sets in boxer remain chuku chuku. Right? These are just ideas I want to throw there. Money making boxing, there's no doubt money making boxing. I know money making Alexander Village and money make in there's a Newton area, I think by Cetus, and money made all across the place with people doing Pagwa Fete. But at the end of the day, I'd like to know where the money or the final resting place, if I can call it that, final storage of that money is. How much of it was kept in boxing? Right? I would also like to know, why is it these quote unquote promoters of culture do not find the energy to promote culture like that around the 1st of August? Why don't they? Why don't they find the energy to promote culture like that around African History Month, February, November? There's certain calendar months or periods of the year when African history comes to the forefront. As a matter of fact, yesterday was the Day of Remembrance. For the genocide against Black people, slave trade and so on, Middle Passage and all of that. Yesterday was the Day of Remembrance. Did we see any observances, any big celebration around this thing? I know the UN had a special sitting, but did we have anything else happening? You got hundreds of thousands of Black people or scores of Black people for safety's sake celebrating Pagwa, a Hindu religious festival, but did not find the energy or the sense to make a big event out of the fact that yesterday was the remembrance, the Holocaust against Black people. Means we lack in education. We being accultured. Is that acculturation going to be to our benefit? That's what I want to know. How will we benefit from that acculturation, which is taking place right there within the borders of our country? Right? There are other implications that I generally don't want to, I generally shy away from discussing, but I want to say this because I got a call from Linden yesterday, or a message from somebody in Linden yesterday, and it said, Kiraki, I don't know what's wrong with our people. They got an Indian man in Linden here. I know if he come from Georgia or wherever he come from, but he's sharing a set of thing and encouraging Lindeners to celebrate Pagwa. And our Black brothers and sisters, they started rushing around for the freeness and thing. And I said one thing to him. I said, you sure it's freeness? He said, yeah, it's freeness. I want to ask you all this morning, you think it's freeness? Do you believe it is freeness? A lot of the things that we believe is freeness. It's not freeness. is our oppression. And I'm going to tell you why it's our oppression. Let me take you back to the days when you were a child. Let me take you back to the day when you were, the time when you were a child. I don't know about you, but I was always told, don't take money from strangers. Don't take food from strangers. Don't pick up kinds on the road. Our long list of don'ts as a child growing up. Because one of the things in the forefront of our ancestors' mind, our grandparents and parents' mind was people just do nastiness, people just do wickedness. As a matter of fact, one of the words I will always hear growing up, people just swap you. Whatever is a swap, I know a swap is an exchange, right? One thing for the other. But I don't know if the terminology was used in the same sense, but people just swap you with coins. People just swap you with things. It means people just swap out. I'm using it in this way now, swap out. You got on progressive spirit. You got on progressive mindset for negative ones, oppressive ones. Yeah, when actually locked bottles, don't open them. Right? Them old people must have had some wisdom. Don't tell me that it's stupidity all the time. Don't tell me stupidity all the time. And for our Christian brothers and sisters, the Bible, the good book, the religious book tells you, you must not partake in food, especially, that has been offered to idols. You must not serve a false god, and all of these things. So how are you Christian, but you're partaking in all of these things associated with Hinduism? Hinduism got several deities. Christian, you got one God, Jehovah God, Jesus Christ, His Son, whatever, right? Or the three in one, whatever you want to call it. Hinduism got several deities. Islam got, I think, several, or one, I know. Don't let me be accused of religious blasphemy and so on. But I think the point is made. Right? So when you partake, when you accept all of this quote unquote freeness, is it really free? Do you know what quote unquote religious, spiritual rituals were done over these things, and how they're going to tie up your spirituality and tie up your life and hold you in oppression? A lot of people like call this program say, I mean, I don't know not because they got in a battle, they tie you because of obi and whatever you want to call it. But the question is, do you consider the implications? Have we sat our people down, our children especially, because you gotta be children become adults, young adults and old adults and so. Do we have these discussions with our people about the importance of recognizing where trouble is, even in freeness? So the guy who sent me this information from London, I asked the question, you sure it's freeness or is it oppression? And a lot of us rush to things because it's free, but it's oppressive. This is a month of Ramadan. Is this in, no, is, which is the beef holiday? One of the Eids or something? A lot of us like to run for free beef. When is a Muslim holiday that is give out beef and so on? Have you ever sat back and asked yourself, what goes before the sharing out of this beef? What is done with it? What rituals are practiced and so on and so forth? Because my understanding is that particular day is a day of atonement. for them, right? So just as in the Bible, people used to make blood sacrifices or lamb sacrifices, whatever you want to call it. In this modern day, you don't kill people. You don't sacrifice a child, and so on and so forth. You sacrifice animal, the sacrificial lamb. Is it likely that we just put all our burden on this sacrifice? And so when you go and you collect your free beef, you're collecting burden beef? I just asking, I don't know these things, you know. The religious experts can explain them to us. But I'm saying from where I sit and where I stand, we have to use it toward, be more discerning, try to learn more about these things, that we are in a plural society. And so we have to understand, somewhere or other, we have to take time to understand the religious and other practices of the other people in the society. And why it is we must not, or ought not to, or perhaps should partake in those activities. You ever see First of August, especially around the July 31st, 1st of August period, we do a lot of libation. You ever see that replicated in Indo-Guyanese communities? Do you see that replicated in Indo-Guyanese communities? August 1st, Emancipation Day. Agda, for example, usually has a big celebration in the national park. And that's a central place. It's the only place, let's say, that those kind of celebrations take place on the 1st of August. If they were supported by Indo-Guyanese, then you would see a whole host of Indo-Guyanese in the national park on that particularly. I challenge the same photographers that did photographs yesterday to go and show me such a large block of Indo-Guyanese in the national park on Emancipation Day. Or anywhere around the country, as a matter of fact, on Emancipation Day, celebrating with Afro-Guyanese Emancipation Day. And Emancipation Day is not a religious observance. It's more like, what should I say, historical, social, it's not religious. They're gonna jump out the gutters just now and call me a racist, so just another time. And it is that fear of being labeled a racist and so on why a lot of our leaders don't take the opportunity to educate our people on this public platform. They don't want to do it in the communities. I get a strong sense from the voice yesterday that the person called and said, Kidaki and Sam, when you won't come out for them racist thing. It was a black brother. I definitely know Shard Bass that called the other morning and cussed and said, yeah, I would never get power, etc. Is a black chap. I saw his, in fact, I got his display photo from his WhatsApp. So we're not woken up, right? We're not woken up. But here, walking them in those Guyanese communities this morning and turn a fly on the wall. And you hear what the teachings are in relation to African Guyanese religion and everything else. Burning of Holy Cup takes place the night before Pago. What is the significance of the burning of Holy Cup? Have we taken the time to understand that? Which good triumph over which evil? Who was destroyed by the plumes? Is that the word plumes? The flames. To start this whole celebration, observe, whatever you want to call it. What is the significance of them powder being dabbed on your face, water through your face, water coming from all over, quite frankly, upon you tomorrow morning, you might get some serious rash, right? But are we taking the time to understand these things? Or are we just jumping in wildly? Let's refocus. There's a word there in the middle of my head, in the forefront of my mind. You see this thing here? I was just about to say, let's refocus, regroup, and restore, right? Y'all gonna find out where the slogan there. The slogan there about yeah, these are just some things I want us to focus on this morning after Pagwa, right? And I said to you on a daily, when I come here, I don't necessarily come with a script. When I sit here, I simply speak from the bottom of my heart. I look at issues and I analyze them sitting here for the most part. Right? So this is no what is called a premeditated act of mine. Right? Akwesi and Annie. Like you know why. Raquel too. Watch teeth, man. I get enough teeth. Yeah, so there's something I want us to take into active consideration. What are we doing really as a people? Culturally, religiously, economically, right? Right? No, Francie, you can't hope for such a thing, man. There's wickedness. What you have to hope for is a reawakening, a re-educated people, a refocused people. Come on, you can't hope for them then. The population are already small. We need every vote. Right? We need more conscious people. And consciousness comes through teachings. And that is why I will always come here and I will teach. A lot of people don't necessarily like me to teach the way I teach, but you know, that's the reality. Let me say before I talk about the other issue which I want to talk about. I received a number of messages from people yesterday after I left the program. I don't know if I acknowledged them. I can't remember, but if I didn't acknowledge them privately, I'm acknowledging them now. Thank you for your messages. They all were messages of encouragement. First and foremost, not to lose myself. Don't let the gutter rats take me out of my usual calm spirit. Don't get into the cuss down with them, and so on and so forth. And I think most importantly, don't give up on the fight, because it's necessary, it's happening, it is having its impact, and that is why, as we like to say, food nigga tree labor in a pelter. So thank you for your messages. I'm encouraged. But I want to say, that those who think that because I'm a teacher, as one of them called yesterday and asked why I gotta be so if I'm not a teacher, those who think that because I'm a teacher or educator, or because I am a political activist, I'm a national figure, those who believe that because I wear all of those caps, I am not human, y'all think again. And I want you to also think of the fact that if you believe that because I wear all of those caps, I'm going to take the higher road all the time, think again. Because as a friend of mine said, sometimes you gotta go deep down in the gutter, you gotta go below the gutter dwellers to push them out of the gutter. So just keep in mind, I'm always willing to go where it's necessary. Nobody ain't gonna come and poke their finger in my eye. I ain't turning the other eye, neither the other cheek. Right? So if it comes to cost down abuse, that I could do the good too. I'm from Buxton back down side. Not that Buxton back down side is the worst place on earth or in the community. As a matter of fact, Buxton back down side is supposed to be what should I say, the citadel. Buxton back down side is supposed to be the best part of Buxton. Everything you want, you could find right there. Y'all understand me? Right? So when I talk about Buxton back down side, people might believe I talk about it in a demeaning way. No. That is where liberation is. Right? Good. So keep in mind, I can go wherever you want me. And if you don't want me in a particular place, don't tickle me. Old people say tickle me, I can whine. Right? I say people, I say this to people. I say this to people all the time. You see me? I'm always deliberate. If I have a grievance with you, I will choose my words. I will choose my words. Because I want to ensure they stab you like a dagger. I want to ensure they inflict pain on you, psychological pain. And so when you tell somebody about their mother, I don't tell people about their mother lightly, you know. When you tell somebody about their mother, trust me, I don't make all the calculations, all the permutations in my head about the impact it would have. A man messaged me yesterday and said, Mr. Amsterdam, don't tell them about their mother, tell them about their father. Because mothers are dear to us. And fathers could take some of the licks. I know. Mothers are dear to us. And if a lot of mothers, they take the time and teach these dunstogs, they want to come out in the public to display their ignorance and to disrespect people. And so since you want to tell the world that your mother didn't teach you to respect other people, your mother could come in for disrespect. So you get irrational. I don't just run my mouth willy-nilly. I just do all the permutations. Why I must tell this man about his mother? Because you know what? He got father, yes, but sometimes he father the absent. And even if he father the absent, mothers usually are dominant in terms of bringing children and so on and so on. So if the mother that takes the time and do a good job with it, he won't be so disrespectful to his elders. Oh, Lord, right? He won't be so disrespectful. And so since she could allow him to disrespect others, let her bear the brunt of his actions. Let her bear the brunt of his actions. So tell your mother. I hear we the same thing from your mother. Yeah. Right? Yeah, don't take me to places I don't want to go. I could be dark because there's a talk nowadays. I could be dark. I look at all them done stugs. And they tell themselves dark, they dark, and I say, you know what? They think they're dark. We lay the foundation for darkness. The real low life the other day, discussing that dishonest clip on its program. These banners from Buxton. These banners from Buxton. You know their man mentality? That statement did not pass me. And I don't take it lightly. What are you insinuating? That we criminal and we murderers? And that we wicked and we full of hate? Our mentality can be any different to the mentality of the people that you've been associated with for since when you stopped eating out of brown paper bag, or since while you were eating out of brown paper bag. And since this discussion was about me, I want to say this and I'll move on. I've never been complicit in murder. I've never been complicit in money laundering. I've never been complicit in corrupt practices in government. I've never been complicit in scamming. And so if you're going to judge Buxton through my mentality, then Buxton is a damn place, is a tower of virtue. And Buxtonians are towers of virtue. There got some of them who sell their soul to the people that you sell your soul to. But that doesn't answer for the majority of us. Okay, the real low life. I hope you still remember how to hold a knife on fire. The lines remain, it's 80 hours 14. The lines are open 6225933 is the number. I want to say this to y'all though. Keep fighting, don't give up. They're on the ropes. They're trying to bob and weave. They're trying distractions. But let us remain focused. We know what we want. We know what we're prepared to fight for. Let us continue to fight. Don't let any name calling and character assassination stop us from doing what we have to do. Right? You're not saying I never rape anybody and paint over the room. I never beat my wife into oblivion. She didn't have to run and seek asylum. You're making a joke with somebody who run and seek asylum because their spouse beating them? I'm going to do something. I'm going to explain to you just now. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Thanks very much for all the information. I'm a overseas Guyanese, and I'm visiting now in Guyana. You spoke about the differences in the different area and the roads. I went to Monterey Post, BV, Sophia, and a few other roads. And the roads in Monterey Proof, they are very, very good roads. And the BV, there are so many potholes, and Sophia, it's bad. Certainly, if you look like it's a squatting area. But I'm saddened by what I'm seeing. I also have a relative in the public hospital, the men's ward. I was really, really, really shocked. I can't believe that, and he has cardiac problems, no air conditioning, urine on the floor. It's a big ward, and there are like cattle there. I cannot believe this is my country, and with so much money from the natural resources, and I am so disgusted. I don't think I wanted to come here because I'm a retiree and spend a few months and go back, but I don't know what's going on in this country. This country is like a fourth world country, not even a third world country. And they are saying that it's so good. And oh no, thank you very much for all the information, Mr. Karaki, and may God continue to bless you. everything that you say on the air. It is truth, 100%. Bye.
Thank you for your call. At least this listener, this viewer, this supporter, this follower, I don't like the word follower. This person didn't just hear us talk every day about what is wrong in this country and believe it. She came and she saw, as we like to say, I took and I came. She came and she went to areas for herself and she verified that what we are saying is what it really is. So it's not propaganda according to what they want you to believe. The facts are right there. It's evidence. Caller, thank you for holding your life.
A very blessed good morning to Mr. Kadaki. A very blessed good morning to the rest of the Guyanese nation and those who are in or up in the diaspora. God bless your program. Mr. Kadaki, you see one of the reasons why I'm saying to you, my brother, you hear your topic and you hear what you described this morning. And that is exactly what I'm speaking about. I'm speaking into spiritual awareness, spiritual consciousness, where soul selling and these things going on. However, I want the whole nation to understand this and those abreast, afar, that nothing in this whole universe is free. Nothing in this whole universe is free. There's price attached to every single thing. Even those of us who are children of God, who have a one-to-one relationship with God. I'm not speaking about relationship, I'm speaking about a relationship with God. God had already paid the price and made the way for us. I am speaking in the form that people can understand what I'm saying. Those as we accept Christ as your Savior, Jesus Christ had paid the price for salvation. Even though it says salvation is free, if you don't repent and accept Him as your personal Savior and these things, He had paid the price and made the way. So nothing is free. Why nothing is free? Because everything you see happening, if the people are paid to say it's free, you're going to pay physically or spiritually. But where the control takes place is mentally in your mind to take control over your heart. So what you were saying this morning, Mr. Kadaki, you were totally on point. And that's how enough people's soul is being sold with knowledge or without knowledge. And you use a reference where you say, the Father is against those who partake in consuming things that be offered to other God or idols. For the Christian you were speaking about, that is so on point, and that is the fact. And why I'm saying this is that people who think that they get anything free, those things are spiritually contaminated. They are already they've been offered up to other God, and then they're going to present you. When people go and do like they give you something free, they ain't give you something free. They are trying to trap minds and body for forces to dwell in. And to go. However, I want to give a little work to every single body in this program. I am not religious. I'm not condemning non-religion. I have no right to condemn nobody. Only what God has given me to do. In according to God's word, God's will, and God's way, and righteous principle. And find out from all the Hindus, if you have a Hindu friend about it, everybody, find out how can you become a Hindu, if you can become a Hindu, and what is the way to a Hindu, if you can, like when you got Christianity, you accept Christ, Muslim, Buddha, the Muslim faith, we call him Muhammad, and these things. Ask the Hindu religion, and the priest said, how can I, if I'm interested in becoming a Hindu, how can I become a Hindu? And you will be shocked to hear when they tell you the truth of that. You will be shocked. The reason why I'm saying that, I'm giving y'all homework for y'all own self to discover certain things. And then you're going to realize what's going on. When you hear about good over evil, Mr. Kadaki, you ask the question, what is good and what is evil? When you hear about light over darkness, what is the term of light and what is the term of darkness? When you hear about the dirty hand, what is term as the dirty hands? That they will pay you in money with a dirty hand. Why they call that the dirty hand if they want the money returned back and all this kind of thing? So there are a lot of things in the spiritual realm that people don't have knowledge of. And if you're going to be partake in anything, is your freedom of choice too. To partake in anything. Because God said, put before you life and death, blessing and curse. But I give you a freedom of choice to choose. And that's why people try to trap and have dominion over your mind so that they can make you get to choose, but you should not choose ordained by God. But I'm saying everybody have a freedom of choice to choose, and they need to guard it and protect it from any other human being in general. That's why I'm saying don't allow the government them to have dominion over you, so that you could be persuaded in the wrong direction. So Guyanese, once again, I'm saying to us all and those who are listening, be honest, be sincere, and be loyal. Man to thy own self, be true.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 15 on the 27th day of March in the year 2024. It's Wednesday. Dr. David HINDS is in the house as usual. It's Wednesday. Today we'll talk with the professor about several things as usual. And so stay tuned while we bring you up to date to some of the things which are going to be happening and some of the things we expect you to give us your support for. Right? First up, let me remind you that the PNC got the Easter Fest.
The People's National Congress Reform invite you to its annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fundy at Congress Place, Sophia. Bring out the entire family. There will be Easter egg hunt, kite flying competition, and other attractions. Music by One Voice Sound. Remember, this Easter Monday, Congress Place, Sophia is the place to be for the PNCR's annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fundy. Admission is absolutely free with free parking in the compound. See you there.
They also got all these too.
Get ready for the greatest party experience. The People's National Congress Reform presents the Oldies Dance Party on Saturday, March 30th at Congress Place, Sophia. Enjoy live entertainment from Genesis One Man Band and Blue Ribbon the Boss. Admission $1,000. Doors open at 8 p.m. with free parking. It's the BNCR's Oldies Dance Party. Let the memories take over.
And if you're looking for immigration services, you can check out Benchcap Consultancy. That is Mark Benchcap, in case you didn't know. Benchcap Consultancy on immigration law. You can call him at 917-714-1082 or email at markbenchcap@yahoo.com. Yes, Mark Benchcap is into immigration law. He's now a consultant. He has a consultancy that you can reach him on 917-714-1082. Likewise, you can email at markbenchcap@yahoo.com. Remember that. Support the thing. Good. And of course, we have tomorrow night. It's Thursday night. So come on down to Club Twilight. Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out. Let's make memories at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Yes, thank you for staying tuned to the program. It's Wednesday morning. We have Dr. HINDS in the house, and we're going to be talking about the happenings in GT, in Guyana. You know, it's a week since he was here. People say Wednesday to Wednesday is 8 days. So it's about 8 days. Yeah? Right. Just a little over a week. Dr. HINDS, Professor HINDS, welcome to the program. How you do?
Good morning.
It sounds so. Your volume a little low, is it?
Is it?
All right, I guess we're getting you clear. The viewers will get you clearly. Let me check my output. My output is at 100. All right, good. So, how you know, you were going on? How things since we last met here? What has changed?
Nothing much. I do what I've always done, so there's not much change around there.
Oh, there are not many changes around there. I see the US had a little tragedy there. Some runaway ship broke up Old Bridge.
Oh yes, in Baltimore, yeah.
Baltimore is where your relatives are, or not?
Well, Baltimore is part of Maryland. It's a city in Maryland.
Okay.
It's one of the old black cities in the country.
How bad would that accident be in terms of disruption in the state or in the city, whichever? I don't know.
Very, very. It has economic consequences because Baltimore is a port city, so there's a lot of traffic there. So it has consequences for commerce.
Okay. No. Are there alternative routes to that bridge?
What do you mean by the river, or?
Well, the bridge must be linking someplace to someplace. So what's the alternative?
Yes. But you know what bridges do is that give you shortcuts. Right.
All right. Good. Okay. Well, a lot has not changed, perhaps in your neck of the woods, but I've seen a lot of changes down here recently, at least in terms of action. Over the last week or so, we've seen a lot of U.S. presence in Guyana. We saw the CIA. We saw Clinton is currently in the country, or unless he left last night, former President Clinton. So there are lots of movements down here. The UN conducted their inquiry and so on and so on and so forth. So a lot of movements on here. But we left the program last week promising to address a question. And so I want us to start right back at that question there. And it's about the WPA and the leader and general secretary and maybe structure and electoral position. Can you help our viewers to understand where the WPA is currently? Maybe give us a brief background, because many argue that they didn't even know of the WPA, and some say they didn't know the WPA was still alive and so on. So give us a little track back to come forward about
what you mean? You are on every morning. You're not a WPA member?
Yeah, well,
how can people say I am a WPA member?
About recent times. The old people might have forgotten WPA, the older folks, because there was a time when WPA was caught up mostly in coalition politics, and so maybe was not seen at the forefront there and so on. But certainly it's more visible now. And then there are those young people who born and grew during Jack Gill time and so on, and so might not have the knowledge of the history of the WPA. So I'm asking you to track back and then, come forward so people understand the history and where we are from.
Well, that will take quite a lot of time, to do the history of the WPA.
I know there's a shortened version.
An old party that has been around since 1974. So this year is 50 years since the WPA has been in existence. So to do a history of the party in a couple of minutes, it's quite a task. Suffice to say that WPA emerges a group of political parties in the Caribbean during the 1970s. There were radical left-wing parties that arose out of the Black Power era. The Black Power era in the Caribbean was the late 60s, starting in the late 60s. And so there were a number of political parties that came up during that period. WPA was one. You had the NGM in Grenada, you had the Workers' Party of Jamaica, and so on and so forth. Of all those parties that emerged during that period, WPA is the only one that is still alive. All the other parties folded up. By the end of the Cold War in the 1980s, and the demise of the Grenadian Revolution first in 1983. Left-wing politics was dealt a severe blow in the region. The United States invasion of Grenada, later the invasion of Panama, signaled that they were not tolerating any more revolutions in the region. And so a lot of the left-wing parties basically declined. And WPA is the only one that still maintains a presence. So that's the origin of the party. The party didn't emerge at the time of the PPP and PNC. Those are old parties that go back to the 1950s. It's a radical party. So it is the only left-wing party that is still there. In terms of the party structure, the party has had co-leadership. It started out with two co-leaders, and I think at one point there were 4 co-leaders. So the party structure was co-leaders rather than a single leader, what is referred to as collective leadership. The party never had a general secretary. It was called, our version of the general secretary was called the party relations secretary. So the term general secretary was not used. Up to today, the party still has a co-leadership. The retired co-leadership is Dr. Thomas and Dr. Ruknarain, who have both signaled that they have moved on. They are now elders of the party, and the party is finalizing plans for a members' meeting to elect new co-leaders for the party.
Put unanswered. The question about elections. A lot of people over the years have seen WPA as maybe what a lot of people would say a pressure group, just bringing issues to the fore, highlighting to the nation what's happening with poor governance and so on and so forth. And many, when they talk, say WPA never went to an election. And so they perhaps don't see WP as an electoral party. Could you quickly trace the electoral history?
That's not true. The WPA went to its first election in 1985. But UC Guyanese served as our parliamentarian from 85 to 1990. We went to the election, 1992 election. Dr. Thomas served as our parliamentarian for half the term, and Dr. Ruknarain the second half of the term. In 1997, we went in a coalition with the Guyana Labour Party, at that time led by the late Basil Butcher and Nanda Gopal. And we won one seat, and Sheila Holder occupied that seat. In 2001, we went as part of a coalition with GAP, was led by Paul Hardy. We won 2 seats. One went to GAP, one went to the WPA. We did not contest the 2006 election. And by 2011, we had, in coalition with the PNC, formed the APNU. So the APNU is really originally coming together of the PNC and the WPA. And so we contested as part of the APNU in 2011, and in 2015, we were part of the APNU that joined with the AFC to form the coalition government. And then in 2020, it was the same arrangement. we were part of the APNU that contested with the AFC.
And so we're coming to the 2025 position as the WPA determine whether or not the elections will be contested.
I would say generally, yes. We are not opposed to contesting the election. In principle, yes, we are participating in the election. But as you know, from the opposition standpoint, not just the WPA, but the PNC, the AFC, we are looking at the electoral arrangements. We know the voters list is bloated. We are trying to get biometrics. Those things are not forthcoming. And as I argued on my program, we have a dilemma. On the one hand, if we go into an election that is rigged before we start, then in a sense what we are doing is that we are formalizing a rigged election and so forth. If we don't go into the election, the PPP will contest the election and then they will get all 65 seats. So the opposition still has to work out what its approach to the coming election is going to be. But in principle, the WPA would be contesting the 2020 election. The 2025 election, sorry. We have not yet determined whether we'll contest as part of a coalition with other parties or by ourselves. So that's where things are.
Thank you again for the answers, the responses. Let me take time out here to do two quick things. Life relations, I call them. Condolences to the Eliases. Sometime last week, Brother Mo, as we used to call him, Moses Elias, former teacher of Bladenham Multilateral, died in tragic circumstances. He was born to death in his home in the BV area there. And yesterday I read a report which said that it was actually suicide. Or the report claimed, well, I don't know, but the reports reported it as suicide. Suicide by setting, building alight, I think is what the police reported it as. So condolences to the Eliases. I know, and definitely the BUXTONIAN East Coast community has certainly suffered a big loss there. Let's hold strong. Let's keep the family in our prayers and lift them up and so on. Strength. Dr. Hines, I'm sure you would have had encounters with Moses Elias. I think you might have. And so in a short time, I might ask you to reflect a little bit on your encounters with him. I want to also take time out to wish this pleasant soul, this beautiful young lady on the screen there, happy birthday. I gave you some guesses. How old y'all think this lady is? She looks like 16 still. Right? So good morning to Mama Daphne. Daphne Benjamin. She's celebrating her 93rd birthday. I first met her when I went to the US. I think in that same, well, Dr. Hines might be able to tell me exactly. At that same Bowie area, I think it's called. It's Maryland still.
Bowie.
Right?
Bowie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So yes, I met Daphne there. Daphne Benjamin. She is 93 years old today. And she does follow the program and so on. As a matter of fact, she has her Camps TV t-shirt and stuff like that. And so we want to wish her a very pleasant birthday and long life, good health, and all the Creator's mercies for the years ahead. Morning, Auntie Daphne. Morning, neighbor. How you do? I hope you're enjoying the birthday. And I hope Jillian nicing you up today, you know. I know she takes good care of you, but, you know, sometimes we just got to get a little extra, all right? Good. So do enjoy your birthday, Mama Daphne. Good. And Jillian, have a good day. Greetings to the family. All right. Yes, Doctor. And so, what you can tell us about Moses Elias as a youngster in Buxton? I don't know. Well, you didn't went to Blade Island, so did you?
Yeah, I'm a Bladenall alumni.
All right, so
I was at Bladenall for the very first year. We went
Uh-huh.
across from Buxton Secondary in 1976. So 1975. So I was at Bladenall from 1975 to 76. I'm trying to get it right. Yes, I think that was the first year, 75, 76. So I was there for the first year. But I know Mr. Elias because I think he probably is the longest serving principal of that school. He was a fixture there. So every now and again when I would visit my old school, I met him a couple of times. Never was close, but hello, how are you, and so on and so forth. But you couldn't miss it because that's where most of the children from Buxton, they went to Blade, and you would hear them talking about Sir Elias, Moses Elias, Brother Elias. So even if you didn't meet him, he was a fixture. It was as if he were a Buxtonian. So I met him quite a few times. And he has, in fact, I learned on my program, learned of the news on my program. One of his nieces is a regular on these programs. And she reported the news on the program.
Yes, good morning, Janet. All right, so here it is. I see Denise is saying she was correcting the year, which I think you actually did. She was saying, no, it was 1975, January 6th. How this girl get his date? So the two of you are age group. You all went to Blaine all together?
No, Denise is a little girl for me. Denise is my sister age group. So Denise, remember.
Somebody tell she.
No. She went there. Denise went there.
Uh-huh.
Denise was a Blade now girl. Like I said, she and my sister are classmates. Mm-hmm. My sister after me, Denise too. They were both Denises. So they went there. They went Blade now. Yes, so Blade now was the first year was 1975-76 academic year. That was the first year.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now let's talk about some hardcore stories in this neck of the woods. Over the last week or so, we learned that the Venezuelans have actually gone to parliament and activated the law that Maduro had enacted to say, well, we're going to create a state in Essequibo, and so that state has now been created. This is after the fact of the Argyle agreement, the fact that in that agreement, if anybody had created what I want to say, any aggravating situation, they were supposed to go back to this agreement and get I don't know if I can call it 3 white men or whatever, Gonzales and the others to look in and settle this issue. But here it is. A few months after, we have Venezuela establishing an entire state within the borders of Ghana. What are your thoughts on what should I say, the strength of the Argyle agreement and where it has led us?
You know my position on the Argyle agreement. It was nonsense. I mean, that is what it was. The Argyle agreement basically gave Venezuela what it wanted. All Venezuela wanted to do was to talk with Guyana and bypass the legal and international organizations. And they got that. And once they got that, that's all they wanted. They went back to business as usual. And naming the state is just business as usual. It's going along according to the Venezuelans' playbook. The Venezuelans are trying to, in my estimation, they're trying to have bilateral talks with Guyana and to settle the matter bilaterally with the hope that Guyana would give them something for them to drop the claim. I think that is their end of the game. That is their end game.
But what are the implications? All right, if this is the end game, let's assume from the end game I'm hearing they might want a peaceful settlement. But how do you get a peaceful settlement by creating a state in another sovereign state?
They're pushing the envelope. They're creating a state is not legal and binding. The Essequibo is still part of Guyana as we speak. So they're creating a state and declaring a state is meant as leverage.
Recently, I'm sure
carrot and stick, you know.
I'm sure I read a news report or saw a Facebook post of the Venezuelans on a vessel in Guyana's territorial waters. I also saw where I think it was 2 Guyanese soldiers arrested by the Venezuelans. Are those provocations? What are the implications, not for just in neighborly relations, given the fact that Essequibo is one of the rich areas that Exxon got its eyes on, and that might be the source of all the quarrel and so on, international implications?
But it's part of the larger plan of getting Guyana to go to the table and to negotiate and give them something that they want. That's all part of it.
But the Americans are
and they've been doing that. They've been doing that forever. Sorry, what you saying about the Americans?
I was saying the Americans, the Brits also, because the Brits had sent what do you call it? Let me call it a warship here, or were scheduled to send a warship here. The Americans have indicated that they will back Guyana and stuff like that. So can this thing be settled peacefully at this stage?
Well, there's nothing to settle. The 1899 agreement from a Guyana standpoint is valid. So we have nothing to settle. There's no dispute. The Venezuelans want to pull us into a situation where we say it's a dispute. And we actually use that term in the Argyle agreement. They argued, the Guyana government argued that there's no legal term for Guyana is saying that that Venezuela is making the claim and there is no dispute, and they're saying that the legal terminology is dispute, hence the word dispute in the Argyle agreement. But remember, Guyana's position is that there is no dispute, so there's nothing to settle. The ICJ has to rule on whether the 1899 arbitration is valid. And they're likely to say, yes, it's valid, so there's no dispute. The Venezuelans are hoping that by pulling Guyana to the table, you make it into a dispute. And then if you make it into a dispute, then like with any dispute, you settle the dispute. So it's a way of trying to outmaneuver the Guyana government, and that's why I think the Guyana government should not have gone to St. Vincent to that summit.
Thank you. Now, we've seen recently again, we've seen the visits of, well, we have already hearings of the UN Human Rights Committee. We have heard and we have witnessed the government's responses to many of the questions. There was reportage that says that I think it was the American representative who said that Gail Tisha was more interested in blaming the previous administration instead of responding to the questions asked. and providing appropriate answers. Even on the heels of those hearings and those more we might consider the reports, we learned that Guyana is the most corrupt, not surprisingly, English-speaking country in this hemisphere. What are your reactions to those?
Look, you know, I get in trouble on your program quite often. Given what the PPP has done in the last 4 years, the way in which it has governed with an iron fist, and the way it governed before, opposition supporters are socialized to believe that there is nothing that you can accomplish. I'm avoiding using the word win because I don't want to get in trouble again. Opposition supporters feel that there's nothing that you can accomplish short of removal of the government from power. And I am in sympathy with that position because, like I said, it arises out of a constant beating, and you come to believe that the government is invincible and the government, at the end of the day, wins everything, right? And you only have to go to the way in which the teachers' strike was characterized by some of our own supporters that the teachers lost, when in effect, the teachers came out better than they went into the strike. But given the way in which the PPP has appeared to be so invincible and all-powerful and vindictive, people believe that the only win you can win against them is when you remove them. But unfortunately, that's not how politics work. Not how politics work. When you remove them, the removal is the culmination of things that you would have won along the way. You see? And what transpired here in Geneva and the questioning of Mr. Shearer is massive. It's a massive shot in the arm for the struggle for democracy, the struggle for good governance, the struggle against dictatorship. Massive. I have argued on this program several times that when you have a government that is born of regime change, that government becomes a law unto itself, because it doesn't have to answer to the opposition, because the opposition is beaten, bruised, bloodied. That's what regime change does to opposition. It beat you, bloody you, and so on, you know. And it takes time sometimes for the opposition to recover. And where there is lack of a militant and aggressive opposition, the party in power seems invincible. What regime change is bloody the coalition. The whole world came down on the coalition. CARICOM, Commonwealth, the OAS, the Americans, the Europeans, they all came down on the coalition and give power to the PPP. And so the coalition is bloodied. You know, I mean, people argue among themselves that is, you know, North is not governing the coalition well. Some people argue this, some people. The fact of the matter is that any party that comes out of a regime change is bloodied. And it takes time for them to catch themselves of this in Guyana. All right? There are options that they would have had normally that they don't have. When you have massive players like Exxon and Chevron and the United States interests, European interests, CARICOM interests, you can't, as an opposition, do as you like, because the country is not your own country now. The country becomes part of geopolitics. And so the opposition got to wheel and come again, as the Jamaicans would say. You see. And so therefore, it's like you have to make up ground. One of the things is that the PPP, I think, and Brother Kwayana told me that thing a year ago. He said, watch them go, they're going to choke. Because one of the things they also, is not just that they weren't accountable to the opposition at home, and of course they're not accountable to their supporters, is that they were thumbing their nose at the people who put them in power, thumbing their nose at the Americans, thumbing their nose at whoever they can thumb their nose on. The Americans summoned them to go to Washington and scold them, but they come back and still continue to thumb their noses. And I think their calculation is that these foreign forces have no option than to stay with them, because they're giving them everything they want. You know, they're giving Exxon, they're protecting Exxon. And so if you're doing all of that for these foreign forces, you're doing all that for Exxon getting away with murder, so to speak, then the Exxon parent, meaning the USA, is not likely to move against you. This is what the PPP is I think, calculated. And so they continue to be reckless. They continue to be reckless. Now, even though the Americans are not going to move on them in any drastic way, because they're treating the American client well, they're treating Exxon well, right? Nevertheless, America would be very concerned about the rise of an authoritarian state in Guyana, because the Americans would know that authoritarianism leads to militancy. It leads to drastic action on the part, if not the organized opposition, then some group in the society will take matters into their own hands. And so the Americans know that well. They know that the way in which the PPP is behaving, it is going to trigger some kind of response somewhere along the line from the population. You notice the last time they were doing, and then you had the escapees, and those escapees were able to trigger crisis in the country that lasted for 4 years. And it's the Americans that, to, as you remember it, had to put down that uprising, by which time lives were lost, and you can identify with that. Innocent lives were lost. The Americans are quite aware that that could happen again. So while they're not going to move against the PPP because the PPP is treating their client company nice, they're worried about what that reckless governance could lead to, and it could be a repeat of what happened between 2002 to 2006. So I think there are subtle moves on the part of the Americans to signal to the PPP, this recklessness can't go on forever. Can't go on forever. And the Americans have various ways of signaling that. And one of the ways they signaled it was at the hearings there, the human rights hearings. And they're saying to the Guyanese government, you are violating human rights willy-nilly. And we are not prepared to, they're not saying that in actual words. This is, the student of international relations talking here. Basically, they're saying to them, this confounded nonsense cannot continue forever. And they send their spy chief, who's on a world tour, and they include Guyana on the world tour. And they're saying to Guyana, we have Guyana on the focus, that we could send our spy chief here. It means Guyana is strategic for us. Bill Clinton Clinton, any former president that comes to a country like Guyana comes with the full backing of the American government. Clinton would have been briefed on Guyana before he left the United States. And I don't know if you notice his statement on the front page of the Electoral News today, in which they ask him about the contract. That is Electoral News, baby. Mm-hmm. And he brushed off the contract. He said, the issue is whatever they're getting from the money, how they're spending it. Bill Clinton, he brushed off the thing. He said, wherever you all get, you all better take. The issue, however, is how it is being spent. Bill Clinton said that. Right? So Bill Clinton came here, he was fully briefed. Fully briefed. And so all those Americans who are coming here, big time Americans who are coming here, they're coming here, part of it is a signal to the PPP that we have interest in this place and we would like this place to be governed properly. You see? The French Prime Minister, Foreign Minister coming is no accident either. The French took the lead in the EU report that was written after the 2020 election. And if you read the EU report, it was a scathing report. Very scathing report. And so with the French Foreign Minister coming here and saying, well, we setting up a members here, is another signal that we are not going to tolerate violation of human rights in this place. Because as I said, what violation of human rights would lead to is the population, some section of the population, rising up. And the Americans and Europeans and so don't want that. They don't want that instability. And so all of this is a signal to the PPP government is that you're out of control. Dr. Jeffrey put it last night, he said, he used the word humbug, that the Western world have come to realize that the PPP is an humbug. They were a humbug in the 1960s with their communism. And the Americans threw them out of office. And now they're a humbug with their domination. And so all of these visits that you're seeing, that questioning from the Geneva Committee, all of those are bad signs for the PPP. Now, am I saying that they're going to come in and throw the PPP tomorrow? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that for those of us who think that the PPP is invincible, and that the only thing you can win them with is to throw them out. Oh no. They're being weakened. They're being bloodied. They came out of that hearing bloodied. And if you notice, Bill Clinton did not come as a guest of the government. He did not come as a guest of the government. You see? So I'm giving that analysis because I have in mind our supporters, many of whom are on this program, that sometimes when things are hard and you're getting licks left, right, and center, you tend to think that nothing is going your way. When things are going your way, as we say, all revolutionaries, we used to say, the revolution will come like a thief in the night. Right? But things have to build up. Remember a few months ago, I objected on this program when I think it was Coffee or somebody said that Guyanese, African Guyanese are knocked down or some point. But I said that no, we're not that down. We're taking blows. We're taking blows, but we are not out of it. We are not being knocked down. We are not being knocked out. We are taking blows, and we sometimes feel that because we are taking blows, we get knocked out. And a good boxer never concede to the enemy when you're hurt. A good batsman never let a fast bowler know when you're hurt. You see? And I took that position because my own study and observation of autocratic regimes is that they don't last forever. And this one, as Brother UC said a year ago, he told me, they're choking because they're biting off, they're greedy, yap, they figure the whole thing is there. And then like a thief in the night, what is Geneva happens. And everything that we in the opposition have been complaining about, those people did their due diligence. They didn't ask me to give them information and data. In the same way that when we went to Washington, those people didn't ask us for data, as the PPP tried to make it. Now here they're telling, the Jagdio is saying to the people, tell us who gave you information, and the people have to put him to his place. If you look at the CV of those people on that committee, those people are highly qualified. They know their work inside out. The American man get a CV long from here to LPEC and back. And so those people know what they're doing. So all the things that we have been doing and complaining and compiling, all the things that the Padagy been compiling, and all the civil society organization be compiling, the people get all of those things and they investigated and found them to be true. Found them to be true. Some of the things that we even forget about, those people bring up in their questioning. As I said, I don't want to say you win, because if I say you win, then some of our friends here will go, Dr. Hines, no, we lose. So I don't want to use the term win. But what I'm saying, we've made tremendous progress in terms of our case. This government is at risk of being sanctioned for human rights as a result of that hearing. It'll be interesting to see the report those people are going to present on Guyana. And this Guyana government could be at risk of sanctions. And so that's a long answer to your short question. But to say to our supporters, let not your hearts be troubled. Guyana is not a 3-cent penny place. If you were a backwater country where nobody's interested in, then yes, the PPP would have continued to get away with murder until the end of time. But because we are a petrol state, because the eyes of the world is on this country, the chances of the PPP getting away forever have become slimmer and slimmer. And so therefore, as we go into the next election, we have to continue to press for better electoral arrangements. The PPP is not going to give in to a clean voters list. They're not going to give in to biometrics. They're not going to give in to, that's not how dictatorships work. Dictatorship don't give in. You have to pressure them. You have to pressure them, and the pressure is enormous. Again, I quote Bill Clinton. I want to get his direct quote.
He said in short, accept what you're getting and make the best use of it.
No, he went beyond that.
He went beyond that. Spend it wisely, and he spoke about, anyhow, you go ahead. He spoke about inclusion and so on. Go ahead.
He went beyond that. Let me quote him directly. You see, these people, when they talk, you just gotta listen to them carefully. You see? He said, well, you know, he was asked to share his thoughts on Guyana's oil contract. And he said, and I quote, well, it depends on what they do with it. It depends on what else they do with their energy wealth. That's not David Hines talking, or Clive Thomas, or Kedaki, because remember, we have not been focusing on the contract, as you know, others have been spending a lot of energy. The Glenal people, they're focused on the contract. Remember what we are focusing on. We are focusing on how what they get is distributed. And that's what Bill Clinton zeroed in on.
What are the insinuations?
What?
What are the insinuations?
Insinuations of what?
That statement. What they do, what else they do with their energy wealth?
Kudaki, if you ask me what are the insinuations, it's pregnant with insinuations. It's pregnant with insinuations.
But what are they? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, yes, it's suggestive, but what is it? What else they can do with this?
When Lula went a step forward, Lula said, you don't spend it on infrastructure alone. You spend it on human thing. The Americans are very big because they got to deal with black people and minorities in their country. Clinton knows very well that the issue of distribution of wealth, distribution of resources is a big deal. And so when a former American president used those words, he is very cognizant that there's an issue with how they're spending the money. He doesn't have to read it out and spell it out for us.
Thank you. So the opposition should have some hope. Should I give the opposition?
No, that's why I was hesitant about going down this road. Because I know you were coming with a question like that.
You jump in the gun.
No, I know you were coming with that. No, Brother Kinaki, my comments stop here. I am not going in as to whether the opposition get hope. I am saying that this government is not invincible.
I'm not even going to try to continue asking the question. You can answer as a professor. You ought to know that you don't answer a question before it's completed.
Go ahead. I'm listening to the question.
Let's move on. It talks about the same distribution and wealth of wealth and so on, that the UN and Bill Clinton and everybody is paying some amount of attention to. We learned recently that the government is about to import at least 500 healthcare workers from Bangladesh. Haiti is in crisis. Yes, Haiti is in crisis, for example. I'm sure they have healthcare workers. Their CARICOM member country. Bangladesh, I just realized, is visa-free to Ghana. The Ghana government went to Bangladesh to recruit through a third party, Sigma Engineers, at least 500 healthcare workers. The offers in terms of remuneration and other benefits of work far exceed what the average Guyanese nurse or medical staff will get. Is that simply because they can't find healthcare workers in the region, number one? Or there are ulterior motives involved in this move, especially considering the fact that not so long ago, the Charles Rosa Nursing School was closed down in Linden, leaving scores of Lindeners and others stranded for training.
No, I'm going to quote Guyan again. This government just feels it can do anything that defies common sense, that defies reason, that defies reasonableness. They're just fighting black people. They're just sticking it to us. We don't need you all. You all can get the hell out there and go wherever you all want to go and work. We're going to bring in people for work. That's the subtext. As you pointed out, they're going to pay those Bangladeshi nurses 10 times more than they're prepared to pay local nurses. They have to give them all kind of allowance. Housing allowance, travel allowance, and all those stories. You can travel back to your country so much time per year, blah, 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 blah. And then they got to pay that company millions of dollars to do the recruitment for them. They end up paying more money, and they know that. They know that they end up paying more money than they would pay if they were to give better wages to nurses here. But they are sticking it to black people. It's as simple as that. Until they can't stick it no more, until an end is put to it. And I am sure an end will be put to it very soon, one way or the other.
While it may appear, or while it is visible, and clear, everybody is seeing that first, that the remuneration is above par compared to Guyanese nurses. One of the things I think a lot of persons have not paid attention to is the fact that the opportunity to settle in Guyana with family is being extended to the Bangladeshis. It says in this advertisement, after working for 2 years, they apply for permanent residence. They will then have the opportunity to take their family to Guyana, right? If someone has lived in Guyana for 5 years, then they are a citizen.
And then they're able to vote.
Well, talk to us about
a
the
lot of I heard you say in the preamble there that a lot of people are paying attention. Yesterday on my program, you have 40,000 people who said exactly what you're saying there. Our people are paying more attention than we think they are. You see, what they're banking on is, that Guyanese don't like to talk about race. Guyanese don't like to talk about race. We find all explanations for things except the racial explanation. That is no longer true. That is why every twist and turn they cost people like me and you and others that we are racist and so on, because they just want to shut us up. They feel that when they call us racist, we'll get embarrassed and we will just stop talking about race. And the minute we stop talking about race, then we are removing racial consciousness from our people, because what we are giving our people is a racial consciousness in addition to other consciousness. I mean, race consciousness is not the only consciousness. You have class consciousness, you have gender consciousness, but they want us not to give our people racial consciousness. And if you don't give them racial consciousness, they will say, you're importing Bangladeshis, you're importing Pakistanis. But because of the racial consciousness that we are giving our people are hip to what the government is trying to do. we used to argue on this program about snap election? You remember we used to talk about snap election? I know the government was snapping nothing. They stretched that election to the last day. More Venezuelans come in. More Bangladeshis come to vote for them.
And so, what then should be the opposition's game plan to?
I don't know.
To come to this plan.
I don't know, Kidaki.
You don't know.
I don't know. Please don't ask me those questions. I don't know.
I rather suspect you don't want to see. Let me ask this. By doing this, by unashamedly discriminating and oppressing African Guyanese and bringing foreign nationals to work in this country, is this government setting up people for a clash?
But that's what I've been saying all morning. Exactly what I've been saying all morning, my brother. I'm saying the Americans are and the Europeans are keenly aware of that. That if you continue poking your eye in the poking your finger in the eyes of half your population, after time you are going to get an uprising. And the foreigners don't want that. The Europeans and Americans don't want that. They don't want instability. So although the PPP, they may still favor the PPP, because like I said, the PPP is treating Exxon nice and so on. So they have no reason to fault the PPP on that. What they're faulting the PPP on is that because you assume that we are in your corner, you feel that you can do anything. And that feeling that you can do anything will eventually blow up in your face, and it will endanger our interests.
We are being reminded here that Bangladesh is a Commonwealth country, and therefore the Bangladeshis who are brought here will not have to wait for 5 years for citizenship. After 2 years, they can register to vote. I asked the ulterior motives of the PPP.
Always. The PPP is always well ahead when it comes to these things. I mean, we sometimes characterize them as buffoons and so on, and we make laugh off of them, justifiably so. But they're not politically stupid. They realize that there is a limit to how far and how long they can continue. And that is why they're moving at a swift pace to fortify themselves.
I'm starting to ask myself, if the motive is to get these people on the voters' roll within 2 years, if we're going to be faced with delayed elections.
If we're going to be faced with what?
Delayed elections. Give them enough time to get on the list to bolster the PPP's chances of winning.
No, I wouldn't.
And
those are smart.
This clash that seemingly is being set up by the PPP, it would appear as though the PPP wants the clash, despite the fact that the international community doesn't or wouldn't benefit perhaps from such a clash. How can the PPP benefit from it? Because they seem to be heading
it's not as
rushing into this thing.
It is not as simple as that. No government wakes up in the morning and say, I want to clash with the opposition. You do things that could risk a clash, but you're assuming that the opposition is weak and bloodied. You're not going to get it. Listen, Jack Dio carefully this past week. He become an election expert. He's saying the opposition will not win the next election. He's playing on the minds of opposition. He's playing games with our minds.
Where do they?
Because if our supporters believe we're not winning, as with the teacher strike, that we're losing, then they're not going to be motivated. Governments don't wake up. I'm very certain. Those chaps don't wake up in the morning and say, let me go out and oppress some black people.
You sure?
I'm very sure of that. I'm very sure of that.
You sure, man? I got my doubts.
No, I'm very sure of that. And I think if we reduce governance to that, we are losing the trick. We are missing the trick. They wake up first by saying, we want to remain in power forever. They wake up saying, all that oil money that's coming in, we want it to go in our hands and the hands of our friends. That's where they go first. And then you say, in order for that to happen, we have to oppress some black people. You don't start by saying, let me go oppress some black people. You start by saying, what do I want? I want to dominate this country. I want all the money to come to us. I want to remain in office forever.
And for that,
then you act. That's why we call it systemic racism. Is that the racism is not an individual thing where Jack Joe wake up or Irfan wake up. It's built in to the institutions, to the policies, everything. And so the consequence is the racism. The racism is the consequence of the need to control. The Americans are guided by something called manifest destiny. And what manifest destiny is to say, look, this land here that these native Indians live, they don't know what to do with the land. They don't have, God didn't make them with the wherewithal that they could develop this land. They are hunters and gatherers. And so God sent us from Europe to come to North America in order to develop this land. And in order to do that, we have to push the Indians. So you pass the law called the Indian Removal Act to remove the Indians from the land and to give it to white people. So what I'm saying, politics don't work in the way we think it works. What we are seeing is the consequence of the need to dominate. And the consequence of a mindset that says that darker skinned people are inferior. This thing about PPP, PNC, and rigging and so on, it goes deeper. It's that black people don't know how to play by the rules. They're bullies. And so therefore we have to govern them. We have to keep them down. So if Jadio wakes up in the morning and say, I feel like oppressing some black people, he can't do it on his own. He has to use the instrument of the government to do it. There goes the systemic and institutional racism. Jadio or whoever get up and say, I don't like black people and I want to oppress them. They can do that until the cows come home. But if they have power, they then use the power structures to carry out their prejudices and their domination and designs. That's how it works, Brother Gaddafi. And that is why institutions are important. Democratizing institutions are important because that's how you keep bad people in their place. We feel that we got to change people. You know, as Barnum used to say, if you get rid of me, another rascal will take my place. If we get rid of the individual or fund, and the individual Jack Jones, they got other people going to take the place. So the answer is not the individual and his or her prejudices. Is how that individual or those individuals use the institutions of power to carry out their prejudices. And that's what we are seeing.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. It's 8 hours 24 on the 27th of March in the year 2024. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. We'll take a break and then we'll return and we'll take your questions and your comments. Okay, you tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. Stay tuned.
The People's National Congress Reform invite you to its annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fun day at Congress Place, Sophia. Bring out the entire family. There will be Easter egg hunt, kite flying competition, and other attractions. Music by One Voice Sound. Remember, this Easter Monday, Congress Place, Sophia is the place to be for the PNCR's annual Easter Monday barbecue and lime and family fun day. Admission is absolutely free with free parking in the compound. See you there.
Get ready for the greatest party experience. The People's National Congress Reform presents the Oldies Dance Party on Saturday, March 30th at Congress Place, Sophia. Enjoy live entertainment from Genesis One Man Band and Blue Ribbon the Boss. Admission $1,000.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call your life. All right, allow me to play this voice note, please, and thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Yes, I was listening to the wisdom that you was passing on to some of our young people. I did it when I was if you're not educated and someone doesn't tell you that.
Can we just understand that when we play the voice note, allow it to play, please? Thank you.
So I'm talking about the meat that these Muslims sacrifice. It's a sacrificial meat, and then share it. And the Bible, and we as Christians, the Bible tell you clearly that you should not eat meat that is sacrificed. The Bible said that. And even with you were touching on the power yesterday, we are lost. We are lost because we are celebrating something that and a lot of Christians are doing it. That the Bible clearly said that thou shalt have no other God before me, and after there is none like him. But yet I don't know, I think we sell our soul and don't even know it. And as you said, nothing is for free. It's not for free. And we need more people to speak out on these things, and a lot of our religious people, our Christian pastors and teachers, they're not teaching these things. Next Sunday, this should be the topic in every church. In every church. Thank you, Kodaki.
Thank you for that voice. Now the calls are open. The lines are open. 622-593 is the number to call. Call and let's talk the thing. Call your life. Call, your volume is low. Your volume is low. Hardly. Not good enough. Please check your volume and call back. Yes, 622-593 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese morning time. The calls are dropping and so on and so forth. I don't know what's happening. Either people are impatient or call your life.
Morning, sir.
Good volume.
Dr. HINDS, you talk about sanctioning, government sanctioning. We got to be pretty careful when we talk about sanctioning, when we call it sanctioning. We got to remember what happened in Zimbabwe. And the opposition leader was one who was calling sanction. Yes, they got sanctioned. And they come back and urged him, went to him to run for election because what you were the one who called for this to be punished. Why didn't you explore sanctioning individuals, which eventually happened with the help of Return to Martini and so on, right? Or look into criminal, if these guys have done anything that cause criminal charges against them. If you're going to sanction individuals, not country, because it's going to hurt country. Countries that has been sanctioned got really get beat up, and it was hard for them to come back. So this is what I'm asking: if you can't just go and sanction these fellas, all the bank accounts that got all around the place, make them unbankable overseas, and just deal with them. If it's something that they commit criminally, pull them out of the country and lock them up. That's the kind of sanction we should be pushing for individuals, not country. Thanks.
Thank you. Call your life.
Yes, good morning again. Can you hear me?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. To Mr. David, I must give you credit this morning because God loves to give credit where credit belongs to. The part when you explain concerning the UN and Bill Clinton, yes, as an ex-president. But what you want, the government to know said, hey, whatever you ask today, no matter how small it is, it must still divide equally. Case closed. Move on from God. I want to talk about this word, dark days. I don't believe my black brothers and sisters, majority of them in Guyana, understand what that do mean about dark days after the next election. I could take out the pattern of dark days and explain it this morning to my black brothers and sisters. James Jones represents that same word, dark days. If you could remember, James Jones killed over 300 children, and the rest was adults, black Africans and black Africans and white. We have to focus right now on what chapter is saying, dark days, because you're back against the war with the UN, and you will do anything to cause a problem for delayed elections. Like, oh, the country have a problem and it can't go. We have to be capable. We have to stop it now. Remember what they did to them schools
school children. Go for kill them school children who at the time was in office as Minister of Home Affairs. He did nothing. The second incident, them going school compound and tell black children, don't come back to this school and teachers, black teachers. This school belongs to Kuni people. A black brother is in the office of Minister of Home Affairs. I hear what he tell Flash Garden. We investigating. I ain't seen nothing done yet. The dawn coming up. And what I'm saying is, hey, it would not be surprised to the tomorrow. One of them same supporters going and kill 200 and add black children. God forbid. Because is that what the government is heading to punish like that is punish black people and I use the word and kill black people. I see a video and I must comment on that video because this is election time and I see a female MP. I go call him, let somebody else call him because they said to me beat up on oral. She dancing karaoke and baba when the taxpayer pay or to represent them in time like now. I even know if you remember what John Joe said after election is dark days for black people. But he was telling the only people that, hey, after the election, it's brighter days for you and all of us. But black man is dark days for them. And this young MP who want power, supporting a dance, karaoke, and going on, when she was there, Adam neighborhood the next day and start to protest on Regent Street. What are we doing to ourselves? Let me don't wait back for help. I don't believe in regime change. Regime change, black people have to always be sulking. No, we have to be our regime change ourselves. We have the power. Why we must take our power and let the people benefit from our hard working power, benefit from our spending power, benefit with our love. And Brother came to my yesterday and said, it's nothing wrong for black people to play Pagua. That is our love. We have love for them. Let me show them. But they're not showing us love. So why we must let them benefit from our love? It's nonsense some of these black people come and talk and talk. It is time for we benefit half of what God bless us with. And I said over and over this program, the day black people love these words, we will be better off in Guyana. Love, unity, and support. We ain't come down on this word where y'all wait for Flash Garden come and open a school and then you come and no. It is time for we benefit off of these words, like how the Indian people benefit of Apanjat. It is time for we put a stop to it.
Thank you, Flash.
Thank you very much.
Call you live.
Good morning, Brother Kadaki.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Hines. Now, Brother Kadaki, on the opening of this program this morning, you asked Dr. Hines one simple question. You said that Congress have been asking, what is the position with the WTA and its leadership? Who is the leader? Who is the general secretary? And on to now, the good actor hasn't answered that question. He has circled wrong and wrong from 1964, and he hasn't answered that question. Okay. Number two, it is said, and Dr. Hines has said, that the Venezuela issue is not at dispute. Now, both countries are at the CCJ. And the CCJ at the last meeting said to both of you, do not do anything that can provoke Parliament has declared that Essequibo is a state of Venezuela. Is that not a dispute? A dispute is when two parties have not seeing eye to eye on an issue. So there comes a dispute for the solution. Now, in closing, Mr. Maduro has said clearly that he will not accept any decision from the CCJ. Now, if he is not accepting nothing from the CCJ, and he has declared that Essequibo is a state, then what is our next move? To sit down and keep talking and talking that it is a dispute and no, it's not a dispute? I don't have nothing much to say at this moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. I'm sure the caller didn't mean CCJ, but more ICJ.
CJ, but let me respond directly
yes, go
to
ahead.
that.
Yes, Dr.
You usually get me in trouble. I was hesitant to talk about this history you tell me to talk about. And you get me, you heard the man say, I go wrong, and then answer the question. I did answer the question. I said, we do not have a position of general secretary in our party.
Yes, you did.
And secondly, I said that we are preparing to go to a members' conference to elect our co-leaders to replace Dr. Thomas and Dr. Rupnarain. Obviously, the brother didn't hear that. And that is why I didn't want to go into no long history. Because I know people going to focus on that and not on the question that you ask. Again, I repeat, we do not have a position of general secretary in our party. We call it party relations secretary. Now I think we're using the term organizing secretary. And our two co-leaders, Dr. Thomas and Dr. Rupnarain, have stepped down. They're now elders of the party. We are going to a members' conference shortly to elect two new co-leaders. I hope the brother who just said, as we say in Ghana, you lied to me in front of my face. I'm just kidding. I know you're not lying. You just didn't hear me.
Thank you for that. I see some comments. I don't necessarily. I want to say two things quickly. Because both of these comments are heading in the same way. Flash Gordon spoke about the parliamentarians singing karaoke and so on, and he chastised her for that. I see so true it is saying just like OAP and you holding an Easter Fete, they should have been holding rallies often, right? Yes, politics is politics, but people do have social lives. People do have lives. There's nothing wrong with an aspiring leader, president, politician, whatever, having some fun. I can imagine y'all chastising me every week for advertising karaoke and oldies. Tomorrow at Club Twilight. But does that mean I don't do political work and I don't deserve quote unquote elevation in the political realm of things? Come on. Y'all must be fair to humanity.
But to be fair to those people too, Kedaki, when they're seeing a drought of politics and political action, and they see party, they're going to feel, oh, I don't think they're saying that, we political people shouldn't party. I think the commentary is more on the drought of political action. I think that's the subtext there. I'm sure they're not saying that we shouldn't party. I'm sure they're not saying that. But when they see you partying and they don't see too much of political militancy and so forth. Remember, our people are in a militant mood because that's where the PPP has pushed them. And we have to face that reality. I face it every week when I come here. Sometimes they tell me I get soft, and I have to live with that because partly I help to make them more militant, and the PPP action helped to make them more militant. Flash Gordon, however, raises a fundamental point that ought not to be missed. And that is the point that African people, it's not that they shouldn't be playing Pagua. I would not say that. And I'm sure that's not what Flash Gordon is insinuating.
No, I don't. Sorry, I don't think Flash Gordon addressed Pagua. Flash Gordon
Well,
spoke
whoever,
about
sorry,
karaoke.
but Flash Gordon was,
the other caller that spoke about Pagua
yeah,
was
but
referring
Flash
to,
Gordon was
if you
making the
want to go,
point.
man, can relax a little
Sorry,
bit, please.
all right.
Thank you. Flash spoke about the karaoke. The other caller who spoke about Pagua was referring to a discussion I had yesterday on yesterday's program. I replayed this morning about how black people basically are being acculturated, that they're adopting Pagua as part of the thing, and they're more prevalent in the thing than who the people think who would be belongs to. Right? So just that clarity I wanted to make.
Yeah, but I don't think it's so much that people are saying we shouldn't play Pagua, but they're not seeing we playing African things. You see, again, we live in a society where we measure ourselves by our neighbors. And black people, generally, especially our black leaders, they tend to downplay blackness because they feel if you say you're too black, you're called a racist, you won't get Indian votes. So our leaders tend to downplay blackness and overplay Indianness, because in their head they're trying to get Indian votes. You see, and that is what people are critiquing. That is what Flash Gordon is critiquing. That is what the other caller is critiquing. It's not so much that we live in a place where we mix up, you know, and people will play Pagua, you know, and so on. And you can't tell them don't play Pagua. But these very people will downplay African things and overplay things of the other ethnic group. And then when you look at the other ethnic group, they do not downplay Pagua. They do not downplay Diwali and overplay emancipation. They go to emancipation things, but they don't overplay it in the way we just overplay the other side. And I think that critique is on spot and ought to be listened to.
Thank you. Thank you for reiterating. Caller live. I think there's a call on the line. I hope.
Yes. Here's a call. Morning, Dr. Hines, and morning, Dr. Just a quick points here on this.
Can I hear?
Caller, your volume is low.
Okay, I've got it as...
Good. Go ahead. It's better now. Yeah.
Okay, in reference to all the high U.S. officials and French officials that is coming, what I think it does, it allows us to think that, well, these people are saying a couple of things and we need to hang our head high at what they're saying. And actually, what I believe should be being done is for us to rally our people, to actually show them, because by allowing them to say what they're saying and we kind of hinge on a couple of things they're saying to say, well, hell, they're getting it. We should have already been protesting and making it for them to see what's actually happening. So here's it. They all come. They think it's all nice because they see nothing. So for me, it allows us to think that, well, they're speaking up for us and we can't speak up for ourselves. And what we consistently say is that the PPP is trying to, they have already established facts on the ground. They have already initiated what they've already been trying to do, which is subjugate into for the Africans to be where they are. I mean, it's not they're going to come out and say it, but they have already done it. And for us to think that, well, we are going to, when we're getting government, what are we going to do? we are going to time is that where have our African leader been in reference to all the accesses that's been going on by the PPP, and what will we do when we get it there? My opinion, revenge. Because guess what? When we're in that position, all we want to do is to govern fairly, but not understanding what we have lost. So again, my question, and I don't think I've gotten answers, is how will we govern? Will we want to take back what was lost, or are we going to say to our people, man, we can't do that? My perspective, we've got to take back what is lost. And we as a people seems to can't get that in our head. We are appeasers because we just think that, well, if we do it, how it's going to look. When the racist PPP continue to do what they do, they don't think about that. But when we're in that position, we're always thinking, well, it doesn't look good. But yes,
Call a point made.
Yes, okay, that's it.
Thank you. Organize your care to respond there?
Yes, in the event, the caller may think that we are not leaders, but if we have anything to do with leadership, we will ensure that the inequalities that are created by the PPP are turned back and that the country equalizes. And if that means that there are ethnic groups that were pushed back, we will ensure that they catch up with the others. That would be one of our guiding principles. And I say that very clearly. Maybe the caller doesn't think that we are leadership at that level. But if we have anything to do with leadership, saying very clearly, it is to equalize our country, and that those who are pushed back and are left behind, we will ensure that they catch up. Very clear about that.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and good morning, Dr. Hines. Good morning, everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. And I think the previous caller just called there, made some excellent points. I think we all made some good points this morning. I just want to pick up where Dr. Hines touched on running the risk of sanctions. Guyana runs the risk of sanctions. And I think the PPP runs the risk of sanctions because they, for the last 26 years, have blatantly violated the United States Foreign Affairs Act, the United States Foreign Affairs Act, as well as the United States Civil Rights Act. To be more specific, Article 6 of the United States Civil Rights Act. Because there's at least 500,000 Guyanese living in the United States. And the United States is sending monies from inside the United States to Guyana. I spoke about that at least 3 times already. So when Gail Desharet sits up there, she says, well, there aren't any complaints being made. I think she's missing the point. And Dr. Hines says she's ill-prepared. I don't know how a lawyer can miss the point like that. But what the PPP needs to recognize, and what Guyanese need to recognize as well, particularly Guyanese who are living in the United States. This argument is for Guyanese who are living in the United States. They're saying that their taxpayers' monies are being used to pop up human rights violations that are happening in Guyana that are violating the Foreign Affairs Act. That's violation number 1. Or as well as violating their Civil Rights Act because they're being ethnically marginalized and discriminated against. Article 6 of the Civil Rights Act of the United States talks about ethnic marginalization and ethnic disparities and ethnic discrimination. So Gail Desharet needs to sit up straight and pay attention as a lawyer. It's a major embarrassment. But these guys are receiving taxpayers' money for 26 years and don't understand the auspices under which they're accepting them. Let me move quickly along. There was committee member on the United Nations Committee that was questioning, and he spoke about judiciary. On the subject matter of substantive appointment of Chief Justices and Chancellor, Justice Young's case last year had ruled that the presidency needs to act in order to allow the Constitution to facilitate justice as intended. Because the committee made the point that the executive branch of the presidency is basically hog-tying, handicapping, restricting the flow of justice. And the man said, told Gail Teixeira, you admitted, right? The PPP has admitted that they are interfering with the process. So they're running the risk of sanctions on several grounds. So Gail Teixeira is sitting up there, right? Claiming she wants the evidence, and the evidence is like in her face. So I don't know how Gail Teixeira could be even considered to be competent on parliamentary affairs. I mean, it's got to be favoritism. How is she even sitting there, pontificating to be a competent? I don't understand that. Now, so the man is making the point that you're nullifying the entire Constitution, the entire constitutional process and apparatus. Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, made a very poignant statement yesterday, among several. He said, Guyana should, when they're working on a modern economy, take steps towards inclusion. Did we notice that? So he's saying that Guyana needs to take steps towards inclusion and to make all parties be. They said, be a part of that inclusion. And he's sitting right next to Irfan Ali in a red shirt when he said that. However, one thing about President Clinton, former president, I think was inaccurate. I think he kind of congratulated or shared a sentiment that Guyana was participating in upholding the rule of law. That's so inaccurate. President Clinton said that Guyana is upholding the rule of law. They aren't upholding the rule of law. If they were upholding the rule of law, then Pauline Chase of the Ghana Bar Association, here's the evidence again, would not have asked the president of CCJ to come to Guyana to discuss the rule of law. If they were upholding the rule of law, then Justice Witt in the ICJ would not have had to make those statements about election petitions and why it's taken so long in terms of timely and expedition of justice. If it was upholding the rule of law, then the chancellor and acting chief judge would not have to make those complaints about the judiciary being held handicapped and can't facilitate timely justice. So I don't know. President Clinton himself seems to be, just running off at the top of his head on some issues. And I didn't mean that to be disrespectful, but just a point of fact and evidence support that the PPP aren't upholding the rule of law. If that were the case, then the president of the CCJ would not have been coming to Guyana to look into that matter. So I just wanted to touch on those issues. Ms. Dr. Hines, you mentioned something quite quickly about manifest destiny. And in that, you talked about the Native Americans being removed. And you made the point is that they aren't being removed because the white people were racist. You're making the point about, well, if you believe that these people are so subculture, below required intelligence to do the job, then you pass a law and then you justify removing them by way of the law. Then you juxtapose that with Guyana. And you said, well, the PPP have a case of facilitating manifest destiny. But you went to say it's a little bit deeper than that. And then you left it there. Let me carry it a bit further. When you said it's a little bit deeper than that, manifest destiny comes from caste.
Yes.
At least that's how I see it. And that's the facts
Yes.
on that.
You're right.
In caste, in India that put the
Yes.
Brahmins above everyone else.
Yes,
Then they
that's
said
where
that,
I stopped. I didn't want
it's the
to.
religious book that says that. Right? So I just want to draw that parallel. You didn't quite finish it. Hopefully, I'm
Right. Yeah.
Right.
They both come from the same source. Coffee. The manifest destiny and the PPP's domination, they come from the same source of superiority.
Yes.
Innate superiority. Hmm?
Go ahead, doctor. I'm listening.
No, I was saying the superiority is not just skin deep, it's innate. That they are innately superior. Hence, the rest of us are innately inferior. And in order for us to be superior, we have to die and come back again, according to their philosophy.
Yes. So we're on the same page on that, and I just wanted to illuminate it. Oh, that's why I touched on it. I had agreed with you on that aspect. So that's all I wanted to say. If I missed something about President Clinton, I just think that President Clinton should not have said that the PPP are
thank you, Coffee.
willingly facilitating the rule of law. Once again, thank you for accepting my call.
Thank you. It's 9:01. I'm sorry if you are trying to call. I will not be taking any other calls. I'm very sorry for that. I would want to play a voice note or two that I have remaining, and then Dr. Hines will wrap.
And your view, sir. These 500 nurses that they're bringing in, it's to multiply more Indian people, have them to vote, is to boost the Indian population. This is common sense, bro. What are we doing about this? Nothing. We need to protest and stop this whole thing. What's going to happen? You know, it's 500 nurses. Each one of them nurse like a child. Do the math. Do the math, sir. But look, the opposition mumbled it. Yeah, talking wow, but action, bro. Action. Let's do this, bro. Let's do this, bro. Just so you see, the 500 turn, 1,000.
Dr. Hines, wrap up, please.
Just just on Coffee's thing on Clinton. Coffee, I guess no Americans will. You know, Clinton was being nice. He was being nice. He said enough. He said enough to make his point. And you know, he's being nice to the host, although they didn't host him, the government, but he's still our guest. He's still their guest, and he was be nice. No, we don't. As I emphasized this morning, all the signals that are sent by the Americans and the Europeans, they're not speaking for us. They're speaking up for their interests. And insofar as their interest coincides with our interests, then we have something there. But they're not going to, as Flash Gordon said, we should not depend on them to regime change for us. We got to do our regime change ourselves. And so my emphasis on the signals that the Americans are making is that it represents their interests, but it coincides with our interests. And we have to figure out how to use it to our advantage.
And those are your closing remarks, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for your sacrifices. Our viewers, thank you for being here with us this morning, allowing us into your space. Join Politics 101 this evening, and tomorrow join me again for another program of Guyanese Morning Time. There will be no program on Good Friday, right? Not because I'm religious, but I need some mental rest. I need to rejuvenate. Good. So do join us tomorrow morning for another program of Guyanese Morning Time right here on CAMS TV. Join Dr. Hines this evening for another program of Politics 101. It's Wednesday, so Annette Ferguson is going to be on Channel 9 at 7 this evening, I think. Yes, with our Let's Talk. All right, so join Annette Ferguson over at Channel 9 this evening, 19 hours that is, for Let's Talk. I'll return here tomorrow morning. Dr. Hines is on tonight. Be good. Be good. Be strong. Don't give up. Come to Club Twilight tomorrow. Let's relax a little bit. Tomorrow, maybe I can go into the night because I will. That's a dream. It wouldn't happen. Sleep late on Friday. It doesn't happen. It will not happen. Right? Peace out. Have a good one. Love you. Stay strong. The battle continues.